If you're using a weekly log, do you actually need daily logs? And if you're using daily logs, is a weekly log really necessary? The long story short of do you need both daily logs and weekly logs has the super satisfying answer of it depends. But unpacking that, first we need to get our story straight about weekly logs. With regards to the bullet journal system as developed by Ryder Carroll, the weekly log is a space to reflect on the previous week and to collate things to be done in the week ahead. In this style, the items on the weekly task list aren't assigned to specific days. We can think about the function of this layout being very much the mindfulness aspect of the bullet journal practice. So looking back to reflect on what was, so that we can move forward with intention. The daily log, on the other hand, is a space to declutter our minds throughout the day. It's a catch-all space for information, rather than other collections which hold specific information that is related to each other. Based on this definition though, using both daily logs and weekly logs at the same time doesn't seem unreasonable. Each of the two types of logs are filling a different function. The daily log gives us a space to get everything out of our head on a daily basis, and list out the things that we need to do or that happen on any given day, whereas the weekly log gives us a place to process those entries at the end of the week through reflection, and then pull out specific things we want to do in the week ahead. But that's using the bullet journal system's version of a weekly log. In the wider bullet journal community, the term weekly log is often used to describe layouts where you have some kind of a structure that has a space for each day of the week. These spaces may be smaller and only offer a couple of lines per day, or structured so that you have quite a bit of space for each of the days of the week. And this is where we get into the grey area regarding weekly logs versus daily logs. In this type of a structure, where we only have a small amount of space for each day of the week, pairing this layout with daily logs makes sense. We'd probably want more space to record all of those thoughts, feelings, actions, happenings for each of the different weekdays. For a weekly that has more space per day though, these pre-sectioned out spaces effectively become the space for the daily logs. So I suppose, does that make this a weekly log, or does it make it kind of a pre-spaced out daily log? To answer the question of whether we should use weekly logs or daily logs or both, it really comes down to two main things: purpose and preference. In the way that you would set up your weekly logs and daily logs, what would be the purpose for each of those layouts? Are you sticking with the bullet journal prescribed function of being a space for reflection and intention setting, and then a space for kind of getting everything out of your head? Or is your purpose for each of those or one of those different? Often it's easier to justify using both if the purpose for each is distinct. Then comes the preference aspect. Do you actually enjoy your bullet journaling if you're using both? Or would you prefer to just use one over the other? This can be something that you have to answer over time as you experiment with your personal practice, but I am all about finding a system that works for you. I'd love to know though, do you use weeklies and dailies, or just weeklies, just dailies? Neither is also an option. My preference tends to fluctuate depending on when I'm working in my journal. Currently, I'm working with a smaller weekly section that kind of just outlines what's happening in the week, and then I follow this up with my daily logging. Those daily logs then take up as much space as they need to. There was actually a time where I didn't use daily logs at all, but often they can end up making up the majority of a bullet journal. To find out more about daily logs, we do have a separate video where we talk about what it is and how it works, so click or tap on that one and I'll see you over there.